Hey guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the LDARC KingKong FPVEGG PRO. This is a 3-inch micro with some 1406 3600 kV motors, and it's got a 20 amp 4-in-1 ESC, and this is their KingKong stack. And they're finally now using a stack that has the Betaflight OSD, so it's got an F4 flight controller with a Betaflight OSD. They have finally come around about a year into building their ready to flies. In this case, it's a plug and play with that stack. This is the true board stack. It doesn't come with the video transmitter with the board because there's not enough space in this shell or the cage. They actually have their old Q100 video transmitter. So it's a 100 milliwatt maximum power video transmitter with whip antenna. That's what was on some of their older models. So we're still using that. It's interesting is that they switched from this camera here. This is a Runcam Swift CCD clone. It's an okay camera. It seems like it's pretty decent. But the last FPVEGG that I had, the one that was for 2.8-inch props, that one had a genuine Runcam Micro Swift 2 in there. And I know that they've switched to the Runcam Swift on the 5-inch version of this, so it's kind of weird that they have the clone on this one. So maybe they're using it just for this particular model. Not sure. No complaints about the camera. The camera seemed totally fine. Now, I think what they're going for in this particular model is for the beginner to intermediate market, and I think that they've done a good job in hitting that sort of market because this is fairly durable. It's got a 4mm bottom plate, so it's going to be pretty resistant to crashes. It's going to be pretty hard to break this, and they have this set up for 3S, so they included a 3S LiPo, this Tattoo 850 milliamp hour 3S LiPo, decent LiPo. Not a huge amount of power because it's only 45C, but again, as I mentioned, they're targeting the beginner to intermediate market, I think, with this particular one. If you're a seasoned pilot and you're looking for top performance, this is not going to be it. But if you're one of those guys who are looking into getting like a 3-inch micro, maybe you want to try it out, or maybe you want to move up to something a little bit bigger, but maybe don't want a whole lot of power, and you don't want to mess around with a lot of tuning, this is definitely one you want to check out because I flew this out of the box in the Maiden, as you'll see in the flight demo. I didn't touch any of the settings. I just moved some of the stuff around the OSD. I flew it with the default tune. In fact, it comes with a standard stock tune from whatever, I think that's the Betaflight 3.3, and it flies completely fine on 3S. I was actually pretty impressed on this battery here. Totally fine flight performance, no particular issues. Everything worked just great, and I got really good flight time. I probably could have flew a little bit longer. I flew about 5.5 minutes on this battery, and pretty decent flight times. And if you want to move up to 4S later after you've improved your skills, you can definitely do that in this model. This definitely can do it's definitely 4S capable if you want to do that. Now, I think the only downside for beginners here is that they only sell this as a plug and play, not with a receiver version like they usually do on like all their models, where they include either Spectrum or FlySky or FreeSky receiver. This one seems to only come in plug and play currently. Not a big deal. Added a receiver here, and then the receiver has some, I guess, like a little plug that they include in the kit. You saw that to your receiver, and then you plug it into the port that's on the back of the flight controller, right back there. Other than that, not really too difficult setting it up. I didn't make any PID changes, didn't do any PID tuning, just flew it like this exactly out of the box with the batteries that it came with, and it was a very good experience. So if you're, a beginner to intermediate pilot and don't want to tune, don't want to mess with stuff, and want to try out and move up to a little bit bigger 3-inch micro, it's going to be pretty durable. I think this is definitely one you want to check out. Now, besides the battery, you do get a nice case that this came in. If you didn't see the haul video this came in, check that out. Put a card in the corner to that. You get a nice case that it came with the props already on. You do get 10 pairs of extra props here. This is their KingKong prop. That's like a 30-30 style prop here. They come in yellow, white, and clear. So you have plenty of props to break if you end up crashing. There's plenty of spares for those. And then, of course, as I mentioned, they have the little plug for the receiver. Other than that, not a whole lot comes with it. The instructions, of course, are also included. The instructions are very good that come with this. So if you have any issues with setup or questions about what's what, the manual is excellent. And I think that if you just go through that, you'll be able to address any issues or questions you might have about this model. Okay, let's get a weight measurement here for those of you guys in those markets that are looking for sub 250 flyers. This is 135.5 grams without the battery, and then with the included battery we're coming in at 205 grams. So if you're looking for 3-inch micro to fly in some of those regions where it's highly regulated and you can't fly anything over 250 grams, this is definitely one you can definitely fly in those areas. Okay, so without further ado, I'll go ahead and I'll show you the flight demo. As I said, I flew great, and if you're interested in moving up to a 3-inch micro that's very durable, definitely check this one out. I highly recommend it. Okay, so this is the maiden of the KingKong LDARC FPVEGG PRO, and it's pretty windy today. It's going to check the PIDs here. Pretty sure it's default. Yeah, it doesn't look like they changed anything here. Doesn't mean it's bad, but we'll have to see. I think we're on 3.3, so it should be all right. Go ahead and let's take this off. Default tune seems okay. I'm running just the standard 3S LiPo. This is the standard, the LiPo came with an 850 3S tattoo. So this should be able to run 4S LiPo. If you guys are interested in a 4S LiPo video on this for a future video, leave me some comments below. If I have enough interest, I'll look into that. But as with all my reviews, I just do this out of the box with whatever tune it comes with, and fly with whatever battery comes with and props. And this is not bad. This is pretty typical of most of the KingKong stuff. You know, they come out fairly decent, not like awesome, but I think it's they kind of tune things for like the sort of the general audience, a larger market. It could be obviously tuned nice and sharp if you're a racer, but that's probably not their target market. It's pretty sharp, and it's, well, on the default tune it's fairly sharp enough, but then again, you know, a lot of the flying does come down to the pilot. Having perfect PIDs does not make you fly better, I'll tell you that much. I do like the fact that we have an OSD now, and plenty of flight time and plenty of battery life here. It is a fairly large 850, so that's not too unexpected. Pretty good power for 3S considering the weight of this. Definitely not complaining. Definitely on 4S it would be much faster. Approaching 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes here. So even on full throttle, not hardly any oscillations, and voltage is not sagging too much. Obviously 3S isn't going to be as impressive as 4S, but I think if you're a first timer getting into these little micros, this is not a bad model to get. It's got plenty of speed for beginners, and if you want to move up to 4S later, that should definitely not be a problem. Still at 10.9 volts, plenty of flight time left. Take it down to about 10.5 volts, and then go ahead and land it. Already at 3.5 minutes. And it's handling this wind absolutely with no problems at all. This is actually a really nice model. I actually for a first time flight here for a maiden, not bad at all. But not surprised, most of the KingKong stuff is fairly good quality, and this is no exception. Definitely plenty of power for a little freestyle acro. Obviously not as much as 4S, but still good enough. We still have plenty of power here at 4.5 minutes till 10.7 volts. I think these new KingKong props are a clone or copy of the GemFan 3052s, but these are 3050 pitched instead of 3052, so it's slightly different. The shape's a little bit different too, so I think they kind of took the ideas of the 3052 prop and made their kind of their own inspired prop. Pretty decent prop. It seems like it's fairly balanced. Hardly any vibrations or oscillations for this whole flight. And we're at 5 minutes at 10.6 volts. And I think I'll go ahead and I'll end this flight. Pretty nice. I'm very impressed for a first flight out of the box. And it's recovering up to 10.6. You could probably fly this for, I would imagine, 6 to 7 minutes on this 850. It's a fairly large battery for the 3S. So if you're looking for a decent performer on 3S with some decent flight times, I think this is definitely one to check out. And it's trying to land here in this crazy wind. Alrighty.